probably the broadest of all of our values is this value of training, right? And I mean, that's a huge, broad term. So can you tell us what that means exactly?
Yeah. We're creating a delineation that could be argued, and probably so, but we're doing it for a purpose to distinguish this. But we're saying training is different than just teaching. And what we mean is that in all of our teaching, we're training people unto life. That the very word training brings about this action idea. You're being trained for something, where too often I think teaching can just go, it's just for your cognitive, for your mind, so you know more. We're saying no, that everything we bring about, theology, action, when we're training about theology in the marketplace or theology in the home, this is to be lived. So that's what the word training, which goes through all of these values. We're training people to live all of these values. That's what we mean by it.
So that's got to have implications for leadership development then, which I know is a big part of our concern, our values for Redemption Church, is not just training people in the Bible, not just training them to live their lives, to parent and all those things, although those are crucial. And we'll do them. But leadership development being a big piece of that at the church level, and with Surge, really, I mean, you could argue that this value paved the way for Redemption Church.
Yeah, absolutely.
That our work together with Surge, Surge School for Leadership Development, Surge Network, touching the churches all across the valley, really built our relationship that kind of made this whole thing happen.
Yeah.
So
the Surge School and the Surge Network really was founded out of this Ephesians 4 concept that the leaders in the church, so God gave apostles, evangelists, pastors, and teachers to equip the saints to do the work of the ministry. That God has established leadership in the church to train people, equip is the biblical word, to live their lives unto God's glory. So God is very serious about leadership, which means we need to train more leaders. And that's true, again, in all places and in all spaces. So that's the marketplace, that's education, that's athletics, that's every domain of society, music and the arts. Every domain of society, we have a desire as Redemption Church to get into the game, to speak for the sliver that the church plays in this, to help train those people. And so leadership development becomes really significant. And then I take it a step further in the church, because I believe church leadership is so important to the whole of all of life, in all of those places, that we're going to need to raise up more mission pastors to accomplish our vision in Redemption Church. We want to see more churches planted, so we're going to have to raise up leaders and new pastors for those churches, and raise up leaders to serve in those churches. We're going to have to raise up more leaders to start new ministries. And so we need systems in place to enable that to happen.
Yeah, and that speaks to kind of what Redemption Church gives us the opportunity to do. I think a common question we have had and will continue to have is why? Like, why would you take a healthy Praxis Church and a healthy East Valley Bible Church, put them together? That seems like a lot of work. What's the payoff? And to me, this is the payoff, that it provides us an opportunity to have a statewide vision. The vision is 12 culturally strategic locations around the state of Arizona, but then even thinking regionally for equipping and the business world, our cooperation with organizations like Marketplace One for the business world, what Tim Keller is doing in New York, coordination with seminaries, and whatever we can do, whoever we can work with for the sake of training and leadership development for the state and really the region.
I think that's a big point, just to end on, is the collaboration piece, is that Redemption Church does not believe it's an end in and of itself. Yeah. Is that we believe that a strong church institution that Redemption has over time could definitely become, we believe that in partnership with many other institutions who are focused on training leaders, will produce, again, a better city and a better region, and hopefully even beyond that.
Yeah, and it forces us by value and by vision to think outside of Redemption Church. That we do want to plant missions and propagate what we're doing, but we also want to plant churches, and we want to have an influence in the business world outside of our immediate influence and impact.